In London, CIA operative Bill Pope retrieves a mysterious duffel bag from a small shop and calls his wife Jill, who anxiously asks when he'll be home. But Bill realizes he's being tailed. To throw off his pursuers, he slips onto a crowded public bus, rides briefly, then gets off before anyone can follow. He quickly steals a motorcycle and speeds through the city. Back at CIA London station, Quaker Wells, the head of operations, hurries into the surveillance room where his team is tracking Pope's movements through city cameras. They briefly lose him, but soon recover his image on screen, this time without the duffel bag. Bill notices another set of eyes on him, so he exits a train station and slips into a taxi. The group trailing him radios the cab number back to their leader. That leader is Xavier Heimdall, a self-proclaimed anarchist who positions himself as the head of a global movement. Using his hacking skills, Xavier begins tracking Pope's cab in real time. Meanwhile, Bill uses the taxi driver's phone to call the CIA for extraction. The CIA provides coordinates at a dock, which the driver enters into his GPS. But Xavier intercepts the signal, hacks the phone, and redirects the route to a different location. In a U.S. penitentiary in West Virginia, the CIA learns about Jericho Stewart, a dangerous and volatile convict diagnosed as criminally insane. Due to severe frontal lobe damage suffered in childhood, Jericho is incapable of empathy, morality, or emotional regulation. The warden leads CIA agents to Jericho's cell, where he hangs by a neck shackle from the ceiling. When the agents try to remove him, Jericho resists until he's tranquilized. Transported by helicopter to Dover Air Base, Jericho is handed over to Franks and loaded onto a military aircraft. Strapped to a bed, Jericho reacts violently upon hearing he's to undergo surgery, forcing doctors to sedate him. During a quiet moment, Franks asks Jericho about his head injury. Jericho reveals that his father hurled him through a car window after discovering Jericho wasn't biologically his child. Franks gently promises to look after him. Meanwhile, on television, Xavier Heimdall appears in an interview with Piers Morgan. Once revealed to be CEO of Stoneharp Industries and now charged with treason by the Spanish government, Xavier proclaims himself a revolutionary. He argues that governments worldwide are criminal enterprises that must be dismantled. At the same time, the CIA identifies Elsa Muller, a former German Special Forces soldier, as one of Xavier's key operatives. Jericho's plane lands in London, and he is delivered to a CIA black site facility where Pope's body is being kept on life support. Using sophisticated neural mapping, Franks and his team have duplicated Pope's mental patterns and prepare to implant them into Jericho's damaged brain. The procedure involves drilling into Jericho's skull and delivering electrical charges through fiber optics. Initially, Jericho begins to die during the operation. Franks suggests aborting, but Wells insists they continue. He doesn't care if Jericho survives. Against the odds, Jericho stabilizes, but when he awakens strapped to a bed, he is disoriented. Wells pushes him immediately for answers, demanding he use Pope's memories to locate the Dutchman, Jan Strook, a brilliant hacker who created a wormhole program capable of breaching all digital security systems. Pope had refused to kill Strook, instead hiding him at a safe house before his own death. Despite flashes of memory, Jericho insists he remembers nothing. Wells, furious, declares Frank's experiment a failure and orders Jericho's disposal. Yet Frank secretly slips Jericho a pill for his headaches and urges him to look after himself. While being transported by two CIA agents, Jericho notices suspicious behavior and improvises a weapon from the car's interior trim. He fatally stabs the driver in the neck, causing the car to crash. The second agent dies instantly, but Jericho escapes, pulling an innocent civilian from the wreckage before torching the CIA vehicle to cover his tracks. Now on the loose in London, Jericho robs a burger joint of food and steals a van after brutally beating its owners. Driving around, he is suddenly overwhelmed by an onslaught of Pope's memories. Acting on these flashes, he heads straight to Pope's suburban home. Using Pope's security code, he bypasses the alarm and enters. Jill Pope is asleep in her bedroom, and Jericho quickly gags and ties her to the bed. Memories of Pope's daughter, Emma, flood his mind, but instead of harming her, he chooses to leave her alone. Jericho searches the house for the duffel bag of cash, but finds nothing. Jill activates the silent alarm, alerting the CIA. When they call for a control code, Jericho surprises them by giving the correct one, even addressing the agent by name. Further evidence of Pope's memories surfacing. Though Jill and Emma barricade themselves in a room, Jericho leaves without harming them. Elsewhere, Xavier rages at the Dutchman for betraying him and vows to kill him. The Dutchman uploads another video, offering his wormhole program to a responsible authority instead. Fearing both Xavier and the CIA, he approaches the Russian SVR with a proposal. Back on the streets, Jericho sells stolen goods at a pawn shop, and later in a cafe, is struck by another wave of Pope's memories. Convinced the bag of cash is hidden in a library, he goes searching, but finds the stash gone. When he logs into CIA systems using Pope's credentials, Wells traces the activity and warns Franks that Jericho may be coming after him. Jericho indeed tracks Franks down, demanding more pills. At a pharmacy, Jericho admits that Pope's memories are altering his personality, making him feel emotions for the first time in his life. Franks explains that the effects will fade in 48 hours unless made permanent, but Jericho resists, preferring his old, detached self.